Well, hello, long time no see. What we're going to do in this video is to apply what we've learned about Old Testament poetry to an analysis of a psalm, which in this case will be Psalm 1. So please make sure that you have your reference resource handy. If you have no idea of what I'm talking about, then you need to watch the first lecture that's linked in this assignment before starting this one. Okay, so if you have that reference handy, we can now get started. I'm going to share my screen on my iPad and pull up a text of Psalm 1. Okay, you can see Psalm 1, and for me, I picked the New Revised Standard Version, and I just copied it on a piece of paper and put some spaces in between. But because I'm a very low-tech person, the only way I could convert it is by taking a photo. So apologies in advance for the shadows and the different, the way it appears. Okay, now when analyzing it, when you have it on paper, you can have the resource handy and just mark it up. So usually what I do is I'll just read the whole psalm at one time and make sure I understand what's happening. Probably the first thing I look for is inclusio. So is there something at the beginning and the end of the psalm that is repeated that might give me a focus? So in reading the whole psalm, I noted that we have this at the beginning and at the end. So I want you to note that we have this image of a path that the sinners will walk. But then we also have the verb to follow for those that are walking the righteous. But then if you look at the very end, you can see how you have way of the wicked, way of the righteous. Okay, so already what I'm seeing at the beginning and end is the inclusio. Okay, and already that reveals to me the main focus of this psalm. We have the idea of a pathway, a walking, a journey. And then we have a major contrast between the righteous and the wicked. So I already have some idea of the basic topic, which is the destiny of the righteous, the destiny of the wicked, but it's more in terms of the lifestyle of walking the path. Okay, so that's the inclusio there. Then what I want to do is I just simply work through line by line, and want you to keep in mind that in the original Hebrew, we don't have any indication of what the verses are or even how to divide it. We do have very ancient notation provided by scribes on how they would divide the Hebrew text. And we often rely on that when we translate, but keep in mind your translation, things like periods and commas, paragraphing, it's all a translator decision. Okay, so you have the freedom to think about the lines independent of the verses. So what I'm going to do is mark what appears to me to be a colon, and I'm going to pay attention to if it's like a monocolon, a bicolon, or a tricolon, knowing that the most common is bicolon, tricolon can occur, and monocolon can also occur. Now, then I get to pick what color, and I have no idea. I think I'll pick orange. So I see here that we have follow the advice of the wicked. That appears to be 1 colon. Okay, so you can mark it however you want. So I might put a letter for 1 colon. Then we have a second, take the path that sinners tread. And then we have a third, or sit in the seat of scoffers. So I think what we have here is a tricolon. And again, I just want to say we're at the mercy of the English translation, so it's not important that we get it exactly right. Okay, the main thing is to apply the features to help us understand the text better. So we see 3 parts of a tricolon: follow the advice of the wicked, take the path of sinners, or sit in the seat of scoffers. Okay, then I see that we have a contrast here. But, and then we have a new section, and again, I'm going to look at the different colons, and I might pick a different color here. Let's see. Let me try maybe purple. So maybe their delight is in the law of the Lord. Maybe that's 1 colon. And on his law, they meditate day and night. That's a 2nd colon. And so what we have here, maybe a bicolon. Okay. And so you can see the contrast. So we have 1 tricolon that talked about the wicked, and then we have a contrast on the righteous. And the but join the 2 sections there. Okay, then we continue. We have a shift in the imagery of tree, and I think I'll just keep using purple because it's still talking about the righteous. So they are like trees planted by streams of water, with 1 colon, yield their fruit in season, with another colon, and the leaves do not wither, another colon. And so I think what we have here is a tricolon. And then looking ahead, and I think, I don't know how well it will appear. Let's try light blue. I see here, this seemed abrupt and concise all by itself. It does not fit the pattern previously of a tricolon and bicolon. So I'm thinking this is a monocolon. They stand all by itself. Okay. Then, following the monocolon, it appears that we return to traditional paragraphing. Since this is about the wicked, I think I'm going to go back to the orange. So we have, therefore, the wicked would not stand in the judgment. Perhaps that's like 1 colon A. Sinners in the congregation of the righteous, which is B. Okay. And so you have a parallel going on here. Okay, but then we appear to start a new section after that, and I think I will make the, let's see, purple. This is that art part I'm telling you about. There is no rule, there's no strict rules to follow in terms of how you mark it up, and I'm not too concerned about getting it precisely right. I'm just attempting to apply the basic concept that I've learned in grasping God's word. So returning to I think the purple for grasping God for the that I've used earlier. So for the purple, the Lord watches over the way of the righteous. That sounds like 1 colon, but the way of the wicked will perish. And then that's another colon. So we have 2 bicolon. Well, actually, the plural of colon is cola. So you have 2 bicolon. that really puts me in a mood for a soda, diet Coca-Cola. So late at night, though probably not for me, but hopefully at where you are, if it's early enough, you might be tempted to get a soda. Yeah. So bicolon, actually bicolon as well. So that would be right here, bicolon. Okay, now then when I mentioned before, so you want to analyze all the colons and the lines and classify them. So you can see that we have tricolon, bicolon, tricolon, monocolon, bicolon, bicolon. Now the monocolon signals to me that this is probably an emphasis, and it that's the boundary. So what I want to do is review what I've noted and ask the question, how did this help me understand the text better? So for me, I think it shows that this section right here, which is the monocolon, is like the fulcrum. And then we have two sections, one before the monocolon, one after the monocolon. Okay, and so this is what we will call a strophe or a stand-up. You can call it a paragraph. It doesn't really matter what you call it. It's just a larger unit. And so here we have two larger units. This one right here and this one right here. So this would be like a strophe. With a strophe. Because I read, I don't hear, I'm not quite sure the exact pronunciation. I think it's strophe. So this is one strophe and then this is another. Okay, now putting it all together, we can see the structure of Psalm 1. We have two strophes joined by a monocolon. Okay, now then I analyze how each strophe is organized. The first strophe, note we have tricolon, bicolon, tricolon. That's kind of a really nice parallel divide. We have a bracketing. And so the first tricolon is about the wicked, okay? And then the second tricolon is about the righteous. Yeah. And then in between, we have a bicolon that is an emphasis. So I think what we have here in the first stanza, it seems that the central part of the first stanza is the main emphasis. So right here with the bicolon, the main emphasis is delight in the Torah of the Lord, our Lord, and meditating day and night. So that is the emphasis in the first section there. Yeah. Then when you look at the second strophe, and then it's just balanced, just two bicolons. And it seemed to me that the two bicolons serve to parallel each other clearly. So the first bicolon here seemed to be about the fate of the wicked. And then the second bicolon seemed to be about maybe the fate of the righteous. Okay, there. All right, so I'm already seeing the basic idea. So based on the inclusio here, okay, the main idea is comparing the pathway of the righteous and the wicked. So that's the main idea. But then how is that fleshed out? So the main idea is like the bone. So when you flesh it out, we see that the path of the righteous lead to prosperity, and that's the monocolon in the middle. And so we want to make it more precise. So Psalm 1 compares like the lifestyle of the righteous and the wicked, and says that the path of the righteous is the way to prosperity. Okay. Then what about the wicked? Then the fate of the wicked is emphasized right away, that it's not prosperity, but they will stand in judgment. But the Lord approves the righteous, and the righteous is a pathway under the protection of God. So I probably have all I need really to get at the main idea there. And you might even think about how it applies to you. So I'm thinking about now, how does it apply to me? And the last video, think about what does it say about God, and then what does it say about us? Okay. Then Dawn begins about the human destiny. I'm going to think about what it means as human. And so I think what Psalm 1 is saying is to the human. You open in the book of Psalm, this is the first Psalm, then what is the payoff? Well, why should you read the book of Psalm? And so Psalm 1 gives a choice. It's almost as if it's saying, here's what is the payoff if you choose to continue in the book of Psalm and you continue to reflect on the scripture of the Psalm. This is the pathway. Then you have two choices. One, you can choose the path of the wicked, and it's enticing because you can see the wicked give advice, and there's that peer pressure there. It says, don't follow the wicked or the path of the sinners, but rather you delight in the law of the Lord, and if you do so, you're like trees planted in streams of water that yield its fruit in season. So that's the destiny of the righteous. Choose righteousness because you will prosper. Okay, and choose righteousness and reject the counsel of the wicked, reject the leadership of the wicked, because God watches over you during that pathway. And then the other main emphasis would be the question, what is this pathway? How can the righteous, kind of affirm their approach? And then this is where we get in the middle of stanza 1, the delight and the law of the Lord, and you meditate day and night. And so the meditation of the law and the delight, you can see how that is compared to streams of water nourishing trees. Okay, so already I'm seeing the figures of images, right? The figures of speech, images, that kind of thing. And what stands out to me at the image in Psalm 1 is maybe the main image. And I usually will write a section or look at the images. Main image is path that we see in the inclusio. Then we see the image of a tree by water. Okay. And so the tree by water, you can see, and then when you want to reflect on the images, you want to make sure you pay attention to how the Psalms interpret it, because symbols and images can mean more than one thing. Water is universal, water is everywhere. In our experience, water can destroy and harm, but water is also nourishing as well. And so this symbolism of water is not chaos, but of sustainment and of nourishing. And so I'm seeing now that meditating in the laws, delight in it, is nourishing to the righteousness. Okay, and so the image of the tree being nourished by water is intended to communicate to me more emotionally, more in terms of affect, that when I meditate and reflect on scripture, I'm being nourished. It's like food. And then that called my attention to day and night. It's a regular thing. This is not something that's once and done. I'm always going to need spiritual food, spiritual nourishment, and it's a process, it's a journey. And so when you put it together, if you meditate on Torah, but Torah is the pathway that illustrates this metaphor of path. Okay. And if you want to look at the larger context, I'm also thinking about other songs, and this is just if you are familiar with the song, but it makes me think of Psalm 19 and Psalm 119 that reflect on the Torah. And so both songs talked about how valuable the law is, sweeter than honey, for example. Psalm 119 says, your word is a light to my feet, a lamp to my path. The author is showing the payoff of the song. This song is like a flashlight. It God illuminating for you the way to go, and it's a process. that would take your entire life on a regular basis. And the hope, the reward is prosperity. Then when I continue to figure the images, I then see the shaft right here. And so what's interesting is the trees and the shaft. Okay, and so I'm going to put shaft here. There are a lot of other images, but for me, the most important images are these three: the pathway, trees by water, and by shaft. And this is where, if I'm not familiar with the term, I may need to look up what shafts mean to get an idea, because it's an agricultural imagery. But the shaft is a very light residue when you harvest, right? So when you harvest the grain and you thresh the heavy grain, you take this winnowing fork, throw it up in the air, the wind will blow the shaft away, but the grains will fall. And so see how the comparison between the images of shaft and tree. The tree denotes stability, security, continually being nourished by the Torah, that is the streams of water. And you can kind of tell by the structure, because if you look at the first half of the structure, it's very elaborate. This is very well structured. Two tricolons and a bicolon in the middle, like the sturdy tree. But shaft, because it's very flaky, it's light, insubstantial. In the second half, note it's shorter, and it's not giving us a lot of substance. After talking a lot about the tree and the water and the leaves, and then there's rises the light shaft that the wind drives away. The end. So what's interesting is to observe what is not being said. The psalmist refuses to develop the image of shaft like the tree is developed. So the tree by stream, the tree has fruit, the leaves don't wither, because that's the way to go. They're not going to, the psalmist is not going to reflect too much on the shaft, except to say shaft, and then we get it. They're gone. So, and then by making that point, then it affirms the destiny of the path. So the beginning of the psalm is the journey of the path, but then the end indicates the destiny. What is the ultimate outcome? The ultimate outcome is that, as you noted, the pathway. The way of the wicked will perish, but the way of the righteous, in contrast, will not. Okay, so we have the two destinies going on here. Okay, now, so by looking at the parallelism, and then by looking at images, okay, I'm already getting a wealth of information, and I haven't even gone through all the poetic devices. And so that's kind of the point. These are tools, and if you're able to get a lot out, then it's doing its job for you. But to double check, I might just take a glance and see maybe is there anything I'm missing here. Like maybe I need to look at parallelism more on the imagery. And I'm noticing wordplay here, and since I don't have, this is in English, we're not quite sure what wordplay, and so that's fine. But the one thing that I think I would want to know more about are key terms. But remember, it's a translation. Translation is just an interpretation. So I may pick, in addition to the images of path, trees, and shaft, I might pick maybe some words that I need to know what it means. So one might be law, okay, because that's mentioned twice. That's an misunderstood word. So maybe the word for study, I might look at law and see what that means. But then also meditate. See, meditate right here. Meditate, I need to know, is it meditation the way we think of it today, or is it something else going on? So I need to see what meditate might mean here. I might look at prosper. What did that mean? Is it the health and wealth gospel? Is it a promise that you will materially prosper and that's it? So I want to look up that. And, I mean, you can't do everything, but I think those three will probably really help me understand better. If I have more time, I can do more word studies. I can see what the wicked mean, what does the righteous mean, that kind of thing. But for those three word studies, and again, maybe the best way to get an idea of the range of meaning is pick 5 or 6 parallel translations that represent the spectrum from formal to more figurative, and then compare the translation. How is law translated across the board? How is meditate translated? And how is prosper translated? So I think it'll be really interesting to see how it might be different. Now, the word law, it may not be the dried legal code of Western law, but maybe more of a guide of instruction for life. Okay, and then I'm thinking about the rest of the Bible, how God said that these words are your life. Okay, the Torah is the pathway, the Torah is the guide. Okay? And so the high view of Old Testament. Meditate is very interesting, but if you look at meditate in different translations, and this is where it's really maybe helpful to look at the paraphrases, like the Message and others, because I think those are so helpful in trying to think outside the box to provide a first suggestion of what this means. Okay, and so for meditate, it's the word used of animals like chewing, so or a lion maybe growling or something like that, and so it's almost like chewing the Torah. So meditation is not just an abstract spiritual, communion. And meditation can involve that. But here, meditation is more concrete. It's about chewing on the word, reflecting on the word. And so here's the takeaway. Everything that we did here, if you look at all the marking, that is meditation according to Psalm 1. Because we're chewing. We are analyzing and thinking and reflecting. We're pondering the entire Psalm, and we're still not done. And then I find myself, wow, I am applying the principle of meditation in the Psalm to understand the Psalm. And then the takeaway, I think for me, is, what path am I on? And maybe I need to recalibrate and reorient myself. And then ask the question, by what guide am I being led by? Am I really reflecting on Torah to help guide my life, to help guide the lives of others? And if you answer it no, that's the challenge for us, is to how can I use Torah to guide myself? And so I think what the Psalm 1 is a promise. Psalm 1 is saying, if you choose this way, read on. And now here's what's really interesting. I'm going to end with this emphasis as well. When you're done getting an idea of a specific psalm, you want to look at other psalms that are next to it in the book as a whole, because the psalms are placed in a certain order, and you want to see if there's connections and intentionality. And what's really interesting is the concept of path is an aspect of a number of psalms following Psalm 1. And so it might be helpful as you flip through the psalm to note pathway. And then later to see how that's combined with other images. Okay, so that's just my demonstration. And as you can see, you can go on and on and on. So for your assignment, you will be given a psalm, and then you'll be in a group of about 3 or 4, and do what you think might be helpful. But if you look at Grasping God's Word, they provided a template if you want to use it to analyze poetry. And so you can do something like this. So maybe you want to put a psalm in one column, divide it into lines. Yep. And then you can see the second column has a space to describe the different kinds of parallelism, maybe the kinds of images, and then what the purpose of those images. You know, and then what we want to do is complete that interpretive journey. And so, and by the way, I didn't even know they had someone in the book here. So you can look at what the author did, you know, but they apply the 5 steps. And again, you don't need to really memorize or get too deep into the 5 steps. I just want you to know about it, because we always need a reminder or a check that we should not remain 100% in the past world of the text. Our goal is to enter the past, give the text a hearing, what did they mean, and then how did that shape how we are to live and relate to God today. Yeah. So take a look at this and see if there's a format that might be helpful to you. Okay, that's it. If you have questions, or if you want to talk about it, concern, reflection, I'm going to create a forum that's question and answer, and it's just optional. But just go ahead and enter your responses if you're completely lost, or you just want maybe a reflection on other ways to do it. So what I'm hoping to take away today is you see 2 things. One, there are certain tools that can be helpful. And the test is that they help you understand the song. So I may not get everything correctly. Maybe the monocolons or bicolon, if I look at the Hebrew. That's not the point. The point is this. And trying to classify it, that to help me get at the text. And I think it does. I think it's helping us to identify the main point. So point number 1 is the tool, know the tool, apply the tool. Point number 2 is there's an art to it. So think of a tool like tools of an artist, because that's how poetry is designed. Poetry is designed for you to be creative yourself in how the song communicates to us. And so to me, this is what inspiration really involves. I think the inspiration is not that it's all in the past, it's happening right now. But the inspiration is when I apply the tools, I'm interpreting it according to art and creativity. I am opening myself to the possibility of being claimed by the other. And I'm opening myself to being shaped and formed emotionally in a way that that might be transformative in my spiritual life and reflection on the song there. So, okay, so it's an art. So don't worry about following it correctly. Just make sure you know the tools and just apply it. Okay, know the tools well enough to you may not even have to think about it, and then the more practice, it will become automated. But one thing I haven't done yet, but I might focus on, mention the tone, or the emotional, the what soundtrack is being played here. So I'm not a music person, but that might be something for you to think about. And there's a second thing you can do, and it's really not a focus of this class, is you do your own work on the song. Don't let commentary or previous interpretations bias you. Look at the text first, expose the structure and the basic claim. But then with all said and done, I would be really fascinated to look at how Psalm 1 has been interpreted and influenced, popular culture over the years. Are there songs based on Psalm 1? Are there works of art, sculpture, that kind of thing? So I might look at the afterlife of Psalm 1 and the history of interpretation. And so there's a lot of ways that you can go on from here. Okay, well, that's it. And So make sure you have the research done and be ready to go when the assignment is opened up. And the assignment will be opened up, I'm hoping by the end of Friday. I'm gonna do it as early as I can Friday, so you'll have the whole weekend to work on it. Okay, so until then, I would say goodbye, and I'm hoping that it at least gives you some idea of a way to analyze poetry. Okay, farewell.